Donncha, tell us. Welcome to the Offload. Tell us about you. Go on, what's going on?
What's going on? Not a whole lot. Looking forward to chatting to you. There's loads going on in rugby, but I'd like to seek your advice, man. I'm having some crazy dreams at the moment. You know what I've started doing? I've started having cottage cheese before bed again. Remember the way that was seen as a good kind of casein protein to be taken from a kind of food source. So
yeah,
but I've started to kind of take that kind of as a nighttime snack before the bedtime.
Do you know what I'm taking?
Go on.
Kiwis. Have you heard about this?
No.
2 kiwis before bed. Sleep like a baby.
Genuinely.
Yeah, it's all the rage at the minute. Check it out.
Here's one for you. So if I chop the kiwis into the cottage cheese and we're going to have these balmy, crazy dreams, or what would happen there? It's a bit like...
So the cottage cheese is giving you crazy dreams, or is it giving you a good sleep?
I think it's giving me crazy dreams. I had a dream the other day that I was in Thomond Park and my teeth started falling out. All my teeth were falling out, and all the Munster team were there, and I was asking them to help me, but they were too busy doing that fucking box breeding. You know the one could hear me. And then, honestly, down the far end, all the cast supporters and players were jumping around the place still. I was there like, this is highly... Like, you know what I mean? I know this is batshit crazy. I could do a counselling about it, but what's going on here, man?
Munster in a bad run, and it's really hitting you hard, man.
It 100% is, honestly. The cast celebrating on the pitch, Tommy, I can't verbalise how much it hurts me. Genuinely. It's driving me bananas, man, and it's actually even seeping into my dreams. Tell me about the Kiwis, because I think this could be a good contrast. Do you remember coming home from the Southern Hemisphere? If we were coming back from New Zealand or Australia, sometimes you might be given a sleeping tablet for the flight.
Yeah.
But then lads were also on their holidays, so they were washing down the sleeping tablet with like caffeine drinks. You know what I mean? And leaving them...
Caffeine drinks.
To leave them have a battle in their body and see which wins. So that's what I'm going to do now. Tonight I'm going to have 2 kiwis, a load of cottage cheese, and see who wins.
Well, listen, do one night with the kiwis and one night with the cottage cheese and see what happens. Because, so I just Googled it here. Eating 2 kiwis an hour before bed may improve your sleep quality thanks to the serotonin, the melatonin, and the antioxidant content within inside it. So Lucy, my wife, was on about this. I was like, whatever. But you're meant to eat the skin. So you bite into it like the apple. Do you do that?
Darren slags me over that, yeah. Or eating a kiwi full on. No, to be fair, I bite the head and the ass off it because I just find that a bit too gnarly. But I've that's what it's for. It's the skin. Yeah. But sorry. Interesting take. If you've kiwis for your breakfast, does that mean you're a bit drowsy during the day?
I don't know. It's saying here that to eat them an hour before bed, but they reckon kiwis are the new superfood. I have it now.
They look like a superfood, don't they?
Well, they should be, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they are bloody tasty as well. But the skin's a bit manky, I could do without the skin.
Full of fibre, it'll do you no harm.
Anyway, listen, one man who could do with a good night's sleep, news over the last day as Bundi Aki, big shock for Ireland. Ireland obviously made the statement before the URC went and gave him a 6-week ban down to 4-week ban.
6 weeks, wow.
Yeah. For talk back to the referee, abusing the referee, I'm presuming here at the minute. Listen, I think it's a big statement. Nobody knows really what he has said to the referee, what's happened. I know there was a bit of an incident where he was talking back to the referee during the match with Leinster and Connacht last weekend. He came off the bench and obviously was fired up. Things weren't going well for him, but for the IRFU to tell him that there's no place for that sort of indiscipline within the game, to be dropped out of the Ireland squad, and then, of course, to receive 4-week ban. Big blow for Ireland. But what do you make of the whole... what do you make of the whole thing with Bundi Aki as well? Because this has been something that's happened a few times as of late.
Yeah. I'd say we don't condone it. Both of us would be in the opinion that just at the moment... I think it's gone very loose. I know we're tough on referees, but as a player, you have to demonstrate the values. And unfortunately, Bundy in this case, like an awful lot of other people over the last while, has probably got a rap on the knuckles. And I'm kind of glad that maybe URC refereeing boards and the RFU and everyone involved has said enough is enough. You know what I mean? We know the game's probably in a state of flux. We know it's usually frustrating, but button it. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, I kind of feel for Bundee in ways. Like, I'm not condoning what he said. You can never talk back to the ref. You can never, in his position, you can never even chat to the ref. You're not Skip. So, you know what I mean? Play ball and get about it. But I kind of looked at him there. You could see he was frustrated even warming up. You know, the camera kind of cut to him a few times. It's like having a pit bull on a lead for the whole lot of it, man. He was mad to get going. And I question Lancaster even not starting him. And look, I suppose this could really cost him his Irish chances because, one, the biggest talking point about Ireland at the moment is discipline. And I'd say Andy is thinking, what have you done to me here, Bundee? Week before it, and you've just shown the biggest spotlight on it yet again. And I just think refs will go in with a perception to even ping us harder than we probably have been before. You know, it's bad timing from an Irish point of view.
Listen, I think I'd love to know what's happened and what's been said, but I'd say Andy Farrell has just had enough of this. Ireland's discipline for the last while has just not been good enough. It was terrible right through the November. I think they had 6 yellow cards plus that Tyburn red card, which obviously was fairly harsh as well. But if you think back to the last Six Nations, Mac Hansen, remember he had a go at Busby, the referee, who then went and stepped away from the game. Before the World Cup, Johnny Sexton was having a go at the referees at the end of the Heineken Cup final. And he was nearly going to miss the World Cup. He was up for suspension on that as well. I'd say Andy Farrell's just like, enough. Like, and listen, I have to say, Donncha, you give out with the referees a lot, right? And you believe that Munster get a rough end of the stick. If I watch Munster, it wrecks my head. You cannot see a decision made against Munster without 4 or 5 players all over the referee all the time. Like, Jack Crowley is up with arms in the air. Tygburns trying to get up and speak to him. All the players are back. And I know it's something you guys did really, really well back in the day. Like, you made a point. Like, Munster were brilliant. I know you're going to come in with me here, but you were brilliant at getting around and force and like kind of getting your way with referee. But you had somebody like Apollo Con. You were able to have that respect. I just think that the referees are wise to it now. And you're just pissing the referees off. And this is Ireland doing it now.
How the fuck has this landed on Munster yet again? I love the way...
Because it is. Munster, like Clayton McMillan was asked about it. And he's annoyed about it too.
I do think it's an Irish problem. Like, Tommy, one of the greatest blights in rugby at the moment is that Leinster spinning around the ruck. You know what I mean? And I'd say every ref has looked at that and said, any Irish player in green, we are blowing them off the park for doing that. I do think it's
Leinster are getting away with it.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And I suppose it is a frustration. I think I don't want to take away from the point. The discipline has been horrendous. And I look at, I go back to it all the time. That line from Jim Williams, like, how can you be disciplined on Saturday if you're not Monday to Friday, or if you're not every other moment living in a kind of disciplined state? And if you're not pulling each other up, and I think that's what's missing a little bit. You mentioned there that we were chirpy. None of us ever were chirpy with the ref. I'm telling you, Anthony Foley, Paul O'Connell would knock your teeth in. But I was chirpy to my teammates. You know what I mean? I genuinely roll away shouting for that accountability. Like, I look at it now and there's people leaving players do stupid things without booting them, or, you know, like, we kind of tipped each other off and self-policed a little bit. And I know it was vocal and it was loud and you probably heard it on ref mics, but it wasn't for the ref. You know what I mean? Like, genuinely, I remember slapping fellas, and you would have done it to me when we played. You know, if you know I'm just about to give away a penalty, you gave a shit enough about me to actually give me a thump and let that one. You know what I mean? And I think that's what we've lost a bit at the moment. Fellas holding each other to account. I think from a player's point of view, maybe it's a mindset, and I know there's that kind of you give away the most penalties and it still doesn't affect, you know, that kind of moneyball theory. But I actually think it's a blight for our game, and I agree with you. I just think values and stuff is right, and we need to just be tough on moments like this, and I'm kind of glad it's happened a bit.
And so Clayton McMillan, the Munster head coach, says, I sometimes loathe to call it ill discipline. I think it's inaccurate and it's decision making. And that's the thing, that maybe Ireland and Munster and all the provinces, they're trying to be on the line. They're trying to push it as much as they can. But there was a time where Ireland were known for being squeaky clean. There was a time where Ireland were known for being so respectful and yes sir, no sir to the referee. And they got on the right side of the referees. I just think we're completely on the wrong side this time. I think Carl Dixon, English referee against France next weekend, could be a real worry. And we just have that reputation at the minute. And listen, it's kind of just starting to, like, and my tune will probably change as the Six Nations go on. But like, I just kind of think as a game of rugby, we're losing the value of respect everywhere. Like, we're giving out about the referees, we're giving out about the game, we're giving out about this new law, and we're just like suck it up. Everyone's trying to do their best. I understand, and I'm giving out as much as anyone, but I need to just think, like, do you know what? It's a game that we love. There are things that need to change with it, but just get on with it. Stop moaning and just respect each other a little bit, you know?
I think that has to be the big lesson from this. Genuinely, you know what I mean? The game is in a state of flux. The decisions are frustrating. But in our game, you hold to the value that the referee is the most important person on the pitch. You treat them with nothing but respect. So now, hopefully this recenters all that argument again. I understand you're frustrated, but it's not with him. You know what I mean? So let's, afterwards be able to... And that's where I kind of wonder with the Razzie thing, Remember when Razzie did his presentation to be able to kind of show it? I know everyone said that was frustration, but... sometimes there has to be accountability. The honest truth at the moment, Tommy, is that the standard of refereeing is poor, like it genuinely is. And the decisions are so varied. One week it can be this, and the next week
but they're trying their best. This is exactly 100%, it. There's nothing you can do about it, right?
But, so I think we're going to get to the same point. It's just, it's their call. It's on the day. When they call it, yes, sir, retreat and walk 10.
Suck it up and get on with it.
Yeah.
And like, I do even want to mention back to the Mac Hansen one, because at the time I remember Mac, and he had a go at the referee, and he says effing bullshit, whatever else. Anyway, he was talking about the referee decisions, and it was Leinster Munster's Connacht that day as well. And I was like, oh, it's great to see a bit of personality. And you actually were quite right in saying, no, you overstepped the mark. And I do think I got that wrong that time as well. And I just think we need to just suck it up, get on with it. You can have no impact on the referee and the decisions that are made. Just get stuck in and get on with it. So,
but to that degree, I do believe self-policing needs to happen again. The alpha males, the captains, need to kind of go. Like, honestly, if I even whinge to a ref, I'm telling you, Anthony Foley, Paulie, Doug Howlett, they would have clipped me. And there was times you're chirpy, no doubt. But like, I remember them even saying to me, you know what I mean? Your comms are to us. You know what I mean? You don't talk to him. And if I ever strayed from that, man, you just get a glance that pull your head in.
Before the disciplinary came out, you could see that Andy Farrell and the RFU had dropped Bundee from the group. And I think it might be a good time, Andy Farrell just being able to make a statement to the team, like, enough is enough here.
Can we just chat about the player himself, though? This comes at a massive cost for Bundee, though, isn't it? You know what I mean? Because straight away, you know it as well, as an aging athlete, the first thing they say is, you know what I mean? Oh, we have to be looking... And to give someone like Posserwade an opportunity who could come in and light it up. Like, he's going to miss 3 matches. That's as good as your Six Nations all but done.
Yeah, well, that's what it's in the papers
today.
It could be the last time we see Bundi Aki. What a servant, Irish rugby, an amazing guy. And listen, it's that fine line between the competitiveness, what makes him such an unbelievable servant, an unbelievable player on the pitch, but sometimes it can boil over. So, listen, we'll see what happens on that. But a big blow to Ireland on top of the already mounting injury list that we have as well. We'll go through that a little bit later on.
2 seconds. Do you think it was mad that he was on the bench? Just from managing a player, you know what I mean? The biggest game of the year, a historical moment in Connacht's history. I'm not trying to take away the blame from Bundee. He's wrong for what he did. But you put a pit bull on a lead for that long, man. You know what I mean? You're there like, come on. You could see it even in his. He wanted to go out there and go on out. You know what I mean? Leave it all out on the pitch. I wondered. I honestly do. Connacht management need to put their hand up a bit as well and say, we should have thought that float. No, I never win in that argument.
No, well, I don't know. I mean, you're picking Cahill Ford, 24-year-old, at 12, and Harry West as well. Like, two young fellas up against Leinster, in such a big game when Bundi Aki, is going to pull out such a big performance. Connacht have been on a really bad run. I just think that, there's a lot of question marks out there with Stuart Lancaster, and we're not seeing the bounce from Stuart Lancaster with this Connacht team that we were hoping to see so early on the season anyway. I mean, we're halfway through the season now at this stage and they're third from bottom in the league.
Yeah, not good enough. Not good enough. Yeah,
not good enough. And to not pick Bundi Aki, you can sense the frustration. And him, obviously, the way he came onto the pitch, you could tell he was pissed off about it as well and wanted to make a mark and obviously overstepped the border on that as well. And listen, and he knows that he wants to get himself back into the Irish team. And being on the bench in such a big game is not the way to go.
It's just reminded me of something. I remember I was subbing one time against Italy and there was 8 minutes left on the clock. And I remember they called on Mervyn Murphy, he used to have the earpiece and make the subs for myself and David Humphreys to go on for the last kind of 8 minutes of the match. And I remember I was young, right? And I was there to Humps. Here we go now, 8 minutes. I'm absolute. And I remember he grabbed me. He was there. Stop. See, you know what I mean? He was like, go away from me. He was like, all we can do in this short window of time is make a fuck up. Like, you know what I mean? The game isn't for the winning here for us. That's been cast by them picking this team this way. So you go on, right? Give away about 6 penalties and we'll never see you again. And I wonder, did Bundy need a little bit of that chat? Just an arm around him going, listen, fella, I know you're frustrated. I know today isn't gone the way you'd like it, but just go out here now. 10-2, stay clean. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like Humps was able to spot that because he's cute and he's wise. But surely for someone like Bundy, one, being able to spot himself, or two, tipping him off. You know what I mean? Again, I'll go back to management or players around him just going, steady away here now. You know steady what I mean? You've Six Nations around the corner, fella. It's actually, everyone's coming for you. The knives are out. 10-2.
You're right. I remember Joe Schmidt used to do that he would pull the subs in for a special meeting away from the whole squad and talk about the impact that he would want them from coming off the bench, and really go into depth and into detail in it. But his closing message all the time, and I can't remember exactly the statistic, but the chances of giving away a penalty within the first 2 minutes of coming on as a sub is mega, because you burst out onto the pitch, you're trying to get up to speed with it. You go and chase a kick off, you go and chase a kick, and you're just not on the money at that time. And he's just saying, just bed in, exactly what Hump said to you there.
That was Hump's line. I remember it. He was there, you're going to try to play 80 minutes in 8. Yeah, and he was there, you know what I mean? Stay fucking clean, Donners.
They have it right.
He should get an important job, that Humps fella, shouldn't he?
Wise beyond his years, he was. Well, listen, he'll be under pressure next couple of weeks to tell you if we see the way Six Nations goes. Right, let's move on to some some pretty sad news in world rugby, in French rugby, in all of our rugby at the minute. Winnie Antonio, the French La Rochelle tight head prop, 35 years of age. He has been forced to retire, suffered a cardiac event, is in the ICU hospital at the minute, is stable, but quite frightening to think that I was only watching him a few weeks ago playing for La Rochelle and is now having to hang up his boots and in a position where you're just hoping that he's going to be able to come out of hospital and be able to get back to his family.
It's amazing, isn't it? We get into the kind of, the nuts and bolts of the game, and then you see something like this and it actually just pulls you back to the human side of, that's someone's brother, you know what I mean, dad, friend. So yeah, I think we'd both agree that we wish him all the best. Whatever about the kind of rugby side of it, just being healthy and being well is so important. And look, from kind of human side of it too as well, Tommy, do you remember when La Rochelle came over and Rog came straight to Ireland from South Africa and they based themselves in Cork and they trained in Cork on? Mm-hmm. I whipped Jake out of school because they were training, and afterwards he was able to kind of get a few autographs and a few photos. But I'll never
Yeah.
forget Winnie in that moment, man. He was so good to my kid. And it wasn't because he knew me in any way. He just saw 9-year-old young fella there, you know what I mean? And he was getting the giggle, you're off school, did you leg it? And I remember him kind of measuring his legs up against him. He was there, you know, just making it, just having an unbelievable moment. And I remember coming away from it going, whatever about the player, man, what a kind, caring man, you know? And I think when we go into nuts and bolts about, you know what I mean, athletes on the pitch, sometimes we forget the human side of them. And that man is, like, he's a monster, no doubt, but his heart's bigger than him, you know what I mean? And I know it's probably a bad choice of words when it comes to it, but we're thinking nothing but you and wishing you the absolute best. And hopefully he's a speedy recovery, because he should be so proud of everything he's done on the pitch, but also off it, man. That man can connect. You know what I mean? He connected there with 9-year-olds within 2 minutes.
Well, a fierce competitor on the pitch, you saw that, and the level that he was able to play at, probably one of the greatest props ever to play for France. But you would always see him when the final whistle goes with a big smile on his face. He's there hugging, he's chatting. You know, he's able to kind of park that aggression as soon as the whistle goes and realize that this is a team sport and it's about, you know, your teammates' respect for each other as well. So, yeah, listen, we wish him a speedy recovery. And it's quite frightening, Donncha, because I was looking at something about this as well. And I know that heart issues, I think back to my old school in Armagh. It always brings me back to the young player John McCall, who was representing Ireland schools and had a heart attack on the pitch in the Rugby World Cup, and unfortunately never made it off the pitch. And it still breaks my heart there, because I know his family well. And I was looking this up, and there's Nick Asikwe, who plays for Saracens and England second row. You have Jack Singleton. They've both had cardiac issues quite recently. Nick Asikwe just had open heart surgery, and actually was looking this up. So there's 2 to 3% of elite sports people have an underlying heart issue. And you think of who's the midfielder who plays for Man United? He was playing in the Euros there. He had that incident, Ericsson, on the pitch as well.
Yeah.
I think of Chris Henry, the Ulster back rower. He was playing for Ireland. He had a mini stroke the morning of a match as well. And it's just it's frightening, you know, players at the peak of their power.
Yeah, even in my own house, Tommy, like my dad passed away from a heart attack at 40. You know what I mean? Like, that's quite a young age. So you're right, this is a kind of problem that it doesn't just affect rugby players or elite athletes. It's great that you've pointed them out, because I think that then highlights the importance of being aware, or, you know what I mean, chatting to medics, or to make sure that you're doing everything you possibly can to you know what I mean, be there for your loved ones.
Well, I think you think of sports people and you think they're so fit. You know, how could something like this happen? But I was looking it up, right? So there is a professor of cardiology, and there's one type of heart condition called ARVC, arrhythmogenetic right ventricular cardiomyopathy.
Nice, Bowe. Well done, boy.
Go at it if I got that right.
That won't take off like 10 siblings, but it should.
But it gets worse the more sports you do. So for the vast majority of people, as you do more sports and put different aerobic stress in your heart, it adapts to both structures and the pump function. So the fitter you are, the more your heart adapts, but it puts it under more aerobic stress. So listen, it just made me think, for people who are listening and people who might not be aware of that story, like, you can go and get these screenings. And I know as players, we went and had to do it. And I know Trimby was an ambassador for them. It's the CRY screening, and you can check them out.
CRY.
Yeah, so there's cardiovascular risk in young. And if you have kids who are big into sport, and I think it's a free service, so you can check it out online. And it really is. Why would you not just send the kids to go and get this screening done? Because you just never know. You hear people talking about little hole in their heart. It might not be something 100% right there. Go get the screening done. Make sure the kids are okay. And listen, because it's just your worst ever fear. Like, there's Winnie Antonio, 35 years of age, playing for La Rochelle, and all of a sudden has a cardiac event. And thankfully, it looks like he's got through it and he's going to be okay. But you just hate to hear stuff like that. So
absolutely. And if it can be a trigger for everyone else to just, like that, find out a little bit more, just get a bit more information, and just look out for each other a little bit more. Yeah, good on you.
So there you go. Check that out. CRY.ie, I think it is, and it's the same up north as well. If you want to look it up as well.
Good on you, Tommy.
I want to move on to the Ospreys, my old team.
Ooh, yes. I'm in ways. I'm kind of. I know you've been on a bit of a social media ban, but you might have seen that Alan Wynne Jones has come out with a statement, as part of the kind of the ex-players is wrong, but that community of Ospreys, people that care about the club. I listened to a brilliant podcast with the BBC Wales where James Hook was on, and I didn't see it till afterwards, but he wore his Ospreys jersey, and I'm kind of glad in ways, Tommy, that the Ospreys lads are starting to find their voice a little bit, because fucking man, it makes me sad to think that, you're Jamie and Emma, you might in time, you know what I mean, not have a club to show the legacy and the what you left in that jersey, man. Because to be fair, we fucking hated you, but you always brought it, man,
Yeah. Well, this is it. I have an Ospreys jersey up on the wall at home alongside my Ulster Ireland jerseys. And, to think that the Ospreys, nobody knows. And this is the real frustrating thing at the minute. And I just feel so bad for the current players, for the current staff, for the current supporters who know that the WRU are looking at probably trying to cut one of the regions. That Y11, who are the company that own the Ospreys, have now become the preferential bidders to buy Cardiff Blues, which makes you think that the Ospreys are in a pretty bad position. Yeah. And that it looks like they're going to be the ones wrapped up. But it's the fact that there's no transparency, there's no knowledge. So the Ospreys are going out playing against the Dragons this weekend, but they don't know. They're going home to their wives, to their girlfriends, to their kids, not knowing if they're going to have a contract next year, not knowing what's going to happen in a couple of weeks' time, where they're going to be told that that's them finished, that they're going to have to go off and try and find something else. There's people up in the office. And listen, it's a club that I played with for 4 years over in Swansea. Some probably of my greatest memories were playing for the Ospreys. It was an unbelievable team. If you think about it, the Galacticos with the likes of
you were the Avengers, man.
I mean, and you just think of the Shane Williams, Gavin Henson's, James Hook, Lee Byrne, Mike Phillips, Justin Marshall played there, Marty Holla played there, Philo Tia, Ian Goff. You have the two Adam Jones and Duncan. They just had an amazing squad of players, and that's not even naming half of them. And I just feel so gutted for a club that only got put together just over 20 years ago. And so they've actually won the URC, the Celtic League, more times than any other team apart from Leinster. They're one of the most successful teams in Welsh rugby. And the fact that the WRU are wanting to close down from 4 to 3 regions, if you look at it, the WR Wales have won 6 Six Nations and 4 Grand Slams, more than any other team in the last 20 odd years.
Yeah.
They've been extremely, extremely successful.
And the spine of that was Ospreys players, wasn't it? If you look at that first Grand Slam winning team, I think it's 13 Ospreys and probably you against them, 14 on a pitch at a time,
It was. And listen, I'm a bit heartbroken with it, because I just think that it was a team that I really, really enjoyed playing with. And they always had this, they were always up against it, trying to bring supporters from Swansea, from Neath, from Bridgend, from big clubs that used to hate each other, to come together to try and support this Ospreys brand. And listen, some say it worked, some say it didn't, but there was a great bond. And I remember those days, Ospreys against Scarlets were some of the best derby matches I ever played against. And playing against Leicester, playing against Leinster, I still have that jersey when we beat them in the Pro 12 final, so great days, great memories. And I feel heartbroken for the players that are out there at the minute, and just with the not knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think, as a former player, you'd certainly be proud when you see their performance last weekend. All the excuses are there to down tools and throw the toys out. But that, honestly, and I know it used to drive me mad playing against them, but that's not their way. You're right. Swansea, Neath, they're a different type of animal. They're a different type of people, aren't they? They're hardy, man. And I agree with you. We were really lucky in Ireland that we had provincial bonds, so it made more sense. But I think all the incredible work done by the Ospreys to actually forge this team, made out of teams that absolutely despised each other. You know what I mean? And put them together, and then through your work, they eventually get to the point where it's, an identical team that people can get behind and rally, and know for it to be called. I'm actually delighted as ex-players that you're starting to find your voice, and I'd encourage them, man. Fight the daylight there. Fuck the Welsh Union. They're like, genuinely, right? Honestly, they are making rudderless decisions. They've chatted about 4 down to 2, now 3. You can't lose the Ospreys, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's unthinkable that you mentioned it there, the most amount of wins in the league, and what we just rip up the history. For, what are we at, man? I understand there's difficult situations in the game at the moment, but you can't play favourites either. You know what I mean? Like, the Welsh Union were there straight away to jump in for Cardiff. Well, no, Swansea, your second biggest city, needs you. You know what I mean? Fucking step up. It's not fair. It's not fair to the players there at the moment, the ex-players that have set the tradition and history there. But more importantly, the people that put down their bias. You know what I mean? The Bridge End fans that went, you know what? I hate Neath, but I'll go watch these lads, because they identify what I'm about and where I'm from. I just
Big
think
time.
fucking 20 years there of graft, hard work, fucking all about to be ripped up because Welsh Union, honestly, you need to get your shit together.
Well, listen, you've said it better than me, and you used to hate playing against the Ospreys, but that's exactly how important they were to the league. And I think the one thing that they've cited is that you look at Connacht, because back whenever I was over at the Ospreys, there was a time where the IRFU were considering getting rid of Connacht rugby because they didn't think it was working. And then with a revolt from the people out west, from the Connacht supporters and players, and showing how much it meant to them, you look at them and the atmosphere at the Dexcom Stadium last weekend with a brand new stadium being built, the crowd absolutely buzzing. I just think that just shows what can happen if investment and belief is put in behind a team like that. And it would break my heart if the Ospreys were to close.
Totally agree. The difference there is action, so Tommy. And I know, like you speaking here, Hookie, Alan Wynne Jones, but fucking get in your boots and mobilise that group to say, do you know what? No way, man. No way. And I think that's really important. And I do feel for those players because they shouldn't be put in that situation. But that's what Connacht did. Connacht marched to Dublin and said, no way. The Ospreys should be marching into Cardiff going, no fucking way, man. No way. And it's right. You know what I mean? If you love rugby, man, and you're right, I hated you. I genuinely did. Like, if I was Welsh, I'd identify more with the kind of Scarlet. See? But like, when we used to come up against you all the time, you knew what was coming. And I remember playing against Neath back in the day, and you went nothing away from that. You were still hardy fellas. Our dressing room was still looking like an A&E after playing the Ospreys or Neath or any of the people from that region, because you know what I mean? They wore their heart on the sleeve, and if you were coming into their place to, take points, you were going to pay for it. I love that the ex-players are finding their voice, but I'd say keep going. You know what I mean? Fight the daylight and actually put on your boot. You know what I mean? Get more.
I think they are. There's a big plan that a lot of ex-players, supporters are going to go and try and show their support to the Ospreys team and staff this weekend whenever they play against the Dragons. The blood is black. That was always the motto whenever we were over with the Ospreys. But another big one that we had as well was MFL. And Sean Holly, who was the coach at the time, always talked about MFL, and it was mates for life. And I swear it was a bit cringy at the time. But it's times like this when everybody's coming together to really fight for the Ospreys again, it really resonates through. So listen, I wish them all the very best. If I can help out, I will try to. And listen, fingers crossed they can make
likewise across
happen.
The board. I think if you're into rugby, man, if you know what I mean, love the sport, whatever about the team, you got to respect what they're about. I thought you were more TFL, tan for life, but that's it's a cheap dig. Go on the Ospreys, fight it, man, dig in.
Right, let's talk about Ireland. They're obviously over in Portugal at the minute. Warm weather training. Jesus,
did you see the rain?
The misery here at the minute. My God. But you have to think, right? Looking at the injuries, I was just looking through it. Obviously, Bundi Aki is out at the minute, right? You've Hugo Keenan is out injured. Mac Hansen's out injured. Calvin Nash, Jimmy O'Brien, Shane Bolton, Jordan Larmer in the back three. Midfield, Bundi Aki, Robbie Henshaw out. Loose heads, Andrew Porter, Paddy McCarthy, Jack Boyle. Back five, you have Ryan Baird, Thomas Ahern, and Furlong, Balakoon, Osborne, and Finlay Bealham. I think all doubts for Paris as well. Like, we are not in great shape going into the match next weekend.
No, it's not. It's not being ideal. And look, it can happen as well. Of course, you look through training programs and load, and you can go on about the Lions year that just was, and an awful lot of those players rolled 2 into 1. But then again, and you listen to Andy Farrell, he won't view it that way. He'll see it 100% as an opportunity, won't he? That he can jump on and try someone new. And look, sometimes that's where you find a few diamonds, in those moments where lads from a position they didn't expect basically get an opportunity, or also see the ceiling, man. And I think that's what this Six Nations could do for a number of players. They could basically see, do you know what? I'm not at it yet. I know I have been exposed to the standard of international level. And I either, you know what I mean? It's a diamond. You either break or you go on. And I think that's quite important. You're gone, aren't you? I'm well up for having a chat on my own, Tommy, but it's a better podcast if you're here.
I'm back. I was in the I was in the waiting room. I don't know what happened. I got thrown out there, and then I was
thrown out. You see, that's the Welsh Union trying to silence you.
They're inundating the Wi-Fi here. But you're right. I have no idea what you're just talking about, but absolutely agree with you. Bang on that one.
My big point is it could be an opportunity, Tommy. I know it's not ideal. And here's the thing too. I think we will earn a respect for the likes of Porter and Furlong that we haven't appreciated those lads enough. And it is sometimes it isn't till they're gone that you see the I don't want to say the gulf, but how good they are. And I do think, like I was just saying there, it's an opportunity. International level is such a massive step up. People don't get it. Honestly, it's so quick. And I do think if a few of these young fellas get exposure to it, at least they'll know either I have to come up or I'm gone. You know what I mean? I'm not at the level.
Well, I was talking to Rory Best, and he was saying Jeremy Loughman is probably one of the best scrummagers out there. So he is somebody who's come back in, but he hasn't been in the Irish setup for so long. You've Michael Milne there as well. And Billy Bowen, who's 20 years of age, called up from Connacht as well. Heading off
sticking straight in
the Stade Francais or in the Stade de France. I mean, my God, what a baptism of fire that's going to be.
It's one of those ones where you kind of feel the lads are there. I'm a little bit tight. Yeah, best luck with that.
It makes me think of I remember watching, I was pitch side for that South Africa match in the autumn, and I remember just seeing Finlay Bealham warming up to come on. And it's one of those ones I'd say he's going, oh, Jesus, actually, I forgot my gum shield in the change. I'll go back in there and and then it's like anything to delay the inevitable.
There you go. You're losing by 18 points, and they're like, Donncha, and you're there. Just keep running. You'll have to come on.
Yeah, you're down warming up in the dead ball area. I didn't hear anything. Were you calling me?
Yeah. Do you know what? Overall, though, I heard Andy Farrell saying that, and you mentioned it to me during the week. He mentioned the line, "We're better as the hunters," and we're certainly back in that regard. Nobody's talking about us coming into the Six Nations.
No,
you know what I mean. Everyone's there. Look at Scotland. You know what I mean. 2 teams in the European competition playing well. It's their time. Like Bortwick saying he wants English players flooding or his supporters flooding the channel for the last match.
For the Grand Slam. I mean?
The Grand Slam
he
game.
Actually said the Grand Slam match. Jeez, that's ballsy. But you're right. I love that. I love the hunters. We are now the hunters, not the hunted. And I do think that is representative exactly where we are at the minute. And I do think that that's really, we can be world number 1 team in the world, but at the end of the day, Irish people, we love to hunt. We love to be those people who give us no chance, and we'll show them.
Yeah. And you can see it in ways. Part of me was delighted with those Bortwick comments, though, because I think the likes of Pollock, and we've spoken a little bit about England. England are dangerous, man, when they have the chest out and there's that arrogance. And I don't mean to be any bit disrespectful, a hero of a player, but I think Delalio is the kind of embodiment of it. And I think they're getting back. It's actually good to hear Bortwick kind of going, sticking the chin out a little bit. I've had enough of them being meek for too long. You're too much of a fucking superpower in world rugby for you to get this kind of, you can't play our card, man. We only have 4 teams, you know what I mean? There you are with your massive stadium, your unbelievable population. Just get your shit together now and stick the chest out. And more importantly at the moment, back it up. And they're worried because I think they could, man, you know?
Yeah, they could. Well, I don't know. Obviously, that's going to be next weekend. France against Ireland on Thursday. Can't wait for that. We're going to obviously do a podcast on the dressing room on Tuesday ahead with Ireland's team announcement. And then hopefully we're going to do one live from Paris. I think you're going to be in Paris potentially next Thursday night. So we'll get one. It'll be straight in for Friday morning for people.
Brilliant.
I can't wait for that. It's going to be great. I'd say you're buzzing to get over there for that. It's going to be some atmosphere as well.
Do you know what I was thinking though? I was looking at the day and how I kind of fill it out, and then I thought of the lads. You know what I mean? It's is that 9 o'clock French time? I know
Horrible.
You don't, isn't it?
Oh, I hate it. Yeah.
Oh,
hate that.
it's like genuinely. I know this is a bad example. It's been on death row for the day, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's like someone going, at 9 o'clock we're going to kick the shit out of you. So you just hang around there.
Particularly if you're a young front rower going into that going, where am I going? Listen, I've been there. I've had a 0 out of 10 playing against France in the Stade de France. I know exactly how difficult a place it is. So,
what do you make of their selection, leaving a few out? Penno's probably the big name. Aldred,
well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a bit of a gamble from Galtier, but I think it just shows the strength of what they've got. You know, to be able to leave out Penno is huge. But then when you have Biel Barry, they've just such talent there.
You're the expert in that area. How do you leave Penno out? How do you leave him out, man? It's not rugby decision. I know they'll go back to that moment in the Northampton games and maybe parts of it,
but they have, remember we had Joey Carberry on the podcast and he kind of said you'd tear your hair out with Penno because it's too easy for him and he just coasts about and he turns up in the right place, scores these wonderful tries, but he doesn't exactly exude confidence you wouldn't exude confidence in him if you're the coach. I would imagine for Galtier, he's a phenomenal player, but he might wreck his head. So,
you know what? I could live with having. You know, but why do you need a rocket when you're getting 3 tries a game?
Well,
it's a hat-trick.
He is a rocket, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's wild. Yeah. Hopefully, I hope they, you know what I mean? The kind of comes back to haunt him, but keep experimenting. Keep going, Galtier, with all this kind of stuff.
But then France, of course, you think went to New Zealand with their B team, you know, and then these fellas were put it up right up to New Zealand in that first match. So they have such strength and depth as well. So I'm just can't wait to see. What do you call him? Their captain. Oh, Jesus.
Anton Dupont.
Dupont is back. Jason, can you cut that bit? Dupont and Jalibert.
The most famous man to ever probably play rugby at the moment. You're there. What's your man's name?
We had Kevin Toomey on the show on Ireland End this week who knows nothing about rugby, right? And I was trying to explain to him, that's Dupont. He's the best player in the world. And he going, oh yeah, but Caelan Doris, he's a bit of all right. No clue who Dupont
PJ's your man. PJ's your man for rugby. He actually played a bit.
Did you know PJ was a break dancer?
No way.
Yeah.
Because he's a healthy size, man. I can't see him doing worms and stuff like that. Sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful in any way, but he's a unit, isn't he? He could tog out for us.
Yeah, he's 6'4", 6'5". He's a big lad. Yeah. So he's a break dancer, right? And he's appeared in music videos with Stormzy and all.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Good on you, PJ. You beauty.
Right. Anyway, okay. So that's all to come next week. Need to talk this weekend as well. Munster must be feeling good because they've got Glasgow away from home. Glasgow without their whole squad. So they'll be delighted. That's tonight. You've got Connacht away from home against Zebra. You've got Leinster at home to Edinburgh. And you've got Ulster at home to Cardiff. Glasgow Munster, we should talk about that. That's always a feisty old game. I don't know, will it have the same punch now without kind of the senior players there, without 100%, the internationals?
Yeah. Agreed. There is that kind of, you know what I mean, that rivalry that we chat about with the Ospreys, and it's been built up over years, but it's important that that's kind of passed on. And I know Munster going for a bit of youth around the team, if you look at the back row and even the kind of middle 5, you know what I mean? Yeah. You're kind of rudder of your team. It is very young. And I'll be honest, I'm excited about that, Tommy. I think we need to keep going with stuff like that. Like I look at that back row and there's still even more excitement for me with the likes of Michael Foyle. And I don't want to get, I'm a little bit worried that we overtalk players too early, especially Munster lads. You know what I mean? Like go in, serve your time, bust your ass and make it. I worry like all of a sudden we get a new flashy, shiny toy and we're like, yeah, like they should be they're touring on the lines. Go here, put in a massive performance against Glasgow and then back it up. Like there's a big break coming, I know that as well, but I just think there's blood in the water with Munster in terms of there's opportunity. There's a coach that probably sees what he really has in a squad. And if you're a young fella now, there has never been a better chance. Go grab your fucking moment. Like I went down to the Dragons game, man. I saw Evan O'Connell coming on. And do you know what? Like, I know everyone will kind of go, oh, he's Paulie's nephew. And you know what I mean? Forget about that, man. He walked into a line-out, and it's the first time we've seen it this season. He walked into a line-out and he scanned it. He looked for opportunity. He made the right call. And they're like, don't get caught up in the uncle stuff. You know what I mean? This young fella is just a good player and calls good options because he's clever and smart. And we don't always see him. So put him in it.
Whatever happened in that game, I don't know, because I thought Munster were dead and buried in that game, and how they came back to win it. Fair play.
It should have been. We were very lucky, Tommy. Honestly, the cancelled try. I know his knee grazes the ground, but we could have been 20 points down there. Yeah. Genuinely, I was there. I was freaking, myself and Jake, and I remember at halftime I was there. Will we go home? And I'm embarrassed to say that. Yeah. And I remember Jake just grabbed me. He was there. Calm down now a second. Let's get a curry. He did. Honestly, he was there. Take a breath here, Dad. Let's get a curry chip. You know what I mean?
Paul O'Connell and Axel used to have to be that person too. Calm down, Donncha, will you?
Do you know what I've enough?
Your son's doing it. Love it.
Oh, but you know what I've enough of? Genuinely, like, this little huddle before you go into the half time.
Yeah.
Get off the fucking pitch. You know what I mean? Like,
it's freezing out here. Think about the poor back three.
And just,
there's freezing. Well, go on.
My point, I'm going back to it, accountability. I'd love a little bit more of it. I do think there's young fellas coming through that need to be given opportunity, and they're getting them this time. But grab them, man. Grab them now. Be ruthless. Tony Butler, make that 10 spot your own. I know everyone will say it, you know what I mean? Oh, Jack Crowley's to come back, but you know what I mean? The same thing happened. I'm going Munster ahead here for 2 seconds.
Give over, will you?
Give me 1 second. Tom Tierney and Brian O'Mara went to the World Cup as the Munster scrum halves. When they came back, Peter Stringer was in. It was over, man. You know what I mean? They couldn't dislodge him forever.
It was fucking black and white back in those days.
I understand,
Scarlets
but my point
up against Ulster.
Take your chance.
There you have it. Scarlets obviously beat Ulster last play of the game, the 83rd minute. Broke my heart. And Ulster, where Munster got the luck of the TMO decisions last weekend, Ulster had 2 tries chalked off. Oh, it's so frustrating. But anyway, listen, that's we don't care. We're not going to complain about it. Ulster, of course, lost that game to the Scarlets. They badly needed the result, and I was disappointed. So Ulster obviously have got Cardiff Blues this weekend, which will be a really interesting one. Listen, we do have one more message about the podcast. We do want to tell everybody who is listening, and thank you so much to all our listeners, and so excited ahead of the Six Nations. But one lesson that we learned last year was that we did continue the podcast all the way through and didn't take a break. So we are taking a lesson and a leaf out of, well, listen, rugby's calendar. We're going to take a break in the summertime, which I think is badly needed for our listeners and for
Tell
us.
the truth, Tommy, you're just sick of me. That's the honest truth. I'm not doing another summer of Dunners in a pair of budgie smugglers, line out going, what time do we do that pod, Tommy?
Alan Wynne Jones is still not talking to me after me showing him in the pub while me singing piss down in Melbourne on the Lions.
Brilliant,
as well.
Brilliant, good
so,
times.
We're going to take a break in the summer, which I think, listen, all the rugby podcasts do that, but we just thought we'd flag that with everybody as well. And the other thing as well is with the dressing room on a Tuesday, we're going to continue this right through the Six Nations. We're going to have some parts of that free to air with the second half available to subscribers only, but we're also going to maybe close the dressing room, going to take a sabbatical after the Six Nations and just take a break on that for a little while, because we just feel, listen, let's put our effort into Friday shows and bring out the best we can on those.
Yeah, and it's just a massive thank you to everyone that's subscribed. We've calmed with them anyway. We were on to them and chatting, but we really do appreciate us back in the dressing room. I think it's more of an off season for the dressing room because we're still excited about kicking it on and pushing it on another little bit. So a real thanks from two of us for everyone that's got involved and helped us out. We do really appreciate it.
And particularly around weeks of the Irish matches where there's so much going on, so much interest.
Like, look at this Tuesday coming up, man. That's what I'm excited about in the dressing room, man. We get to go through the team. It's going to be great.
Can't wait. Listen, Donncha, go get your Kiwis. Go get yourself a good sleep tonight.
I can't wait for it. Yeah. Your Kiwis straight in with it. Actually, I didn't get to tell you. Can I have a quick little story? Because I spotted something, and I normally do them at the start, but there's a long-running, basically, study that has
talk into the mic there.
Sorry, long-going study about drinking a beer. So basically, drinking a beer, they're saying if you drink beer, you're more likely than non-drinkers to make it to 90 plus. And they're not saying it's about the beer. It's nothing to do with the beer. It's the socializing side of the beer. So basically, the fact that you're meeting friends, you're having a laugh, you're sitting down, you're switching off, you're lowering your stress, and you're actually staying in a routine of being social. Now, they're saying drink moderately. Moderately is 1 point, Tommy. That's you done.
One, okay.
Yeah.
Probably drinking a flat white counts the same for you as well, if you're doing it with a couple other people.
There you go.
Well, I do agree with that. So, but drinking at home on your own doesn't count, obviously.
No, they were like, reality check here. Heavy drinking reduces life expectancy by 10 years. So that's the caveat to it. But this study is saying all the things that has, you going out for a pint to kind of catch up can lead to you being fit and raring to go at 90.
Loneliness is more dangerous and does more harm than smoking.
Here we go. Loneliness shows to be as bad for health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
There you go. We've been reading the same article.
There you go. Go down to your local, you know what I mean? Have a pint and have a chat. It's like the Rugby World Cup over again. Remember, I was the non-drinker going to Eddie O'Sullivan. Eddie, we just need a few pints, man.
Donncha, good man. Listen, let's catch up on Tuesday. Looking forward to it.
Go well.